Hello, welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time watching, my name is Matt, and this is the current project, fixing up this old excavator. In the last video, I kind of got the project started, and among other things, I got the swing device pulled out, and the focus on this video is going to be pulling that swing device apart and checking it out. So as most of you already know, there's really two parts to a swing device. There's the hydraulic motor on top, which drives a gearbox down below, and then that gearbox is what engages with the slew ring and spins the machine. I already know that the gearbox has to come apart because the seal's bad on the bottom of it, and I don't know how long it's been run like that, so it's probably suffered some damage inside. It might be a little bit rusty, who knows. I'm also going to pull apart the hydraulic motor, and the reason for that is I have some concerns about the state of the hydraulics in this machine. So I like to pull it apart and check it for wear, dirt. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of water in it. That'll hopefully give us an idea of how bad everything else is in this machine. All right, I got a bunch of different degreasers for the engine because the engine's really bad, but I'll give this stuff a shot. I've never tried it before. Okay. Okay, that cleaned up pretty good. I'm pretty sure this has been out before, and the reason I say that is according to the manual, which, by the way, this is a very nice manual. It has like what everything weighs and what tools you need for everything. Anyway, this says when you put it back in, you're supposed to put some liquid packing on the flange where it connects to the machine, and that would make sense. You'd want to keep water from getting in between the two flanges. I didn't know what liquid packing was, but it says here it recommends 3-bond 1215. So I looked that up. It's basically just gasket maker. No evidence of that anywhere on it, so it's probably been off and someone didn't put it back on when they installed it. From here down supposedly weighs 216 pounds. I don't think that's enough to collapse a bucket. I stand on buckets all the time, so hopefully that holds. Uh-oh. That's not good. I don't think there's supposed to be rust in there. The gears look okay. Maybe this will clean up. According to the manual, there's supposed to be a gear right here. Yep, it's rusted on there. I mean, the gears kind of look okay. It's not super ideal for a gearbox. Yeah, I just checked the manual. You're supposed to put an alignment mark so you clock this thing right, which would make sense. You want the dipstick to be right. I'll use a T for this is where you should align it. And by the way, there is a hole right here. So the dipstick fill level is actually supposed to be the top of this gear, which means all this stuff was running without gear oil. Well, everything down here, which is why all that rust is here. Oof. It is all this stuff. A lot of cleaning. Easy. There we go. Where the seal failed. Not sure how that happened. Looks like maybe it was installed wrong, or maybe it looks like it just tore, maybe folded back in on itself. O-ring. This one's seen better days. All right. Probably can't reuse this. Oh, plenty of space. Easy. Nope, not enough space. All right. Just gonna blow this wood up. Pretty sketchy. That wood was one-time use. Oh, that's heavy. Now this is okay. It says to use a bearing puller, but I don't have one that big, and this is actually it's not on here that hard. What's going on here? Yeah. I guess it's coming out. I lost my ball peen hammer, so this is what I'm dealing with. Yeah, so this bearing, I don't know if you can hear that. Definitely very gritty. I'll wash it out and check the races out, but I don't have high hopes for this. It's been through a lot. Grab the number off of here. 22216E. I'm also guessing, I mean, that one seems fine. This is not turning. That one's fine. We need at least one new bearing here. Manual says to put marks in these. I think maybe because these pins are perfectly sized for each hole, maybe, I don't know. So I'll just mark them 1, 2, and 3. All right, now I'll mark it. Oh, these pins are hardened, so I'll put a notch in them instead. These aren't looking the best. This bearing looks better. These pins look good, which is good because that's the inner race. This is the one that doesn't spin very well. Now this bearing's full of crud. 2 notches. Okay, this is the second stage carrier. Manual also says to mark these. Oh, these just have bronze bushings in them. Fit's still really good, so I don't think I have to worry about that. Okay, I can't get this bearing off with what I was doing. I could go and buy a splitter to do it, but those, for this size, which is about 7 inch, they're about $300 or $400. A new bearing, I looked up the Hitachi part number, is $150, and it's like a cheap Chinese one. But, and I learned this on the Cat, you always search for the trade number on the race, not the part number, and you'll always save, pretty much always save money. So I searched for the trade number and I found a made in USA bearing, open box special that someone was selling for, it's like $48. So I went ahead and bought that, saved myself some time and money. Just gonna go ahead and cut this thing off and be done with it. And by the way, based on the condition of the other bearings, there's like a 90% chance this one's shot anyways, so. Nope. Oh, part of it out. Yeah, there's a couple spots here where it's been rusting. Cracked it. Nice. Get out of there. Ooh, that sounds good. Got it. I think. Oh yeah. Did I do any damage? Didn't even mark the inner spot. Oh, I might have. You can see that. I think I did that right there. Not bad. So let's see if we can just tap it off here. There we go. Okay. Okay, everything's cleaned up here, ready to go. I've looked it over pretty good, so I'm just gonna quickly go through the good and the bad and use my phone since it does better close up. So here we go. So first up, this is the propeller shaft. This is the thing that actually drives the gear on the slewing. And so first of all, this wouldn't be affected by the lack of oil in the machine, but there is a fair amount of wear. You can see the black marks on there. And then there's also some pitting from rust on top of that. And I think that's just because the machine was sitting for 10 or so years without really being used. Now it's not great, but I think it's gonna be fine for my use. It's just kind of a farm hobby machine. I did find some pictures of a worn gear, and I'll throw those up. That would be a extreme case of wear. Now, if I was like bringing this machine back to 100%, I'd replace this shaft, but this thing is $550 at a minimum. So I think this is good enough. Over here, this gear is like in excellent shape. And actually all of these gears are, but the inside, like on these have these needle bearings that go inside. These needle bearings all have a couple shot bearings. Well, this one looks okay, but some of these are not great. The inside of the gear acts as the outer race, and you can see there. Can you get a better shot? There it is. Yeah, I mean, that's not great, but that's good enough for my uses, I think. So replace these bearings. These gears, I think that's actually the worst gear. Some of these are look okay. Yeah, those two look a lot better. So this is the worst one. These are the inner races. And actually the part where the bearing rides is pretty clean. It's just the outside that's not on these. So those all look good. Carrier looks good. Bad news over here. So this goes on here, and there's an O-ring on the inside to seal it, and then on the outside there's a seal. I got the new seal in here, so this rides in there, but the surface is gone. It's just been rusting away. So I'm gonna have to buy a new one of these. This is like 150 bucks, unfortunately, but there's no way. I mean, you could cheap out and put some JB Weld on it and all that, but I don't want to be doing this again, to be honest, so I'll just buy a new one. This housing looks good, and then these gears just had the bronze bushing inside, or the bronze bearing inside. They all look fine. This all looks fine. This was lower in the case. It was the upper stuff that was more rusted. So basically, what did I buy? New seal, new O-rings, those 3 bearings, and then this one, and then this one that I cut off. Those are all new that I got coming. And I have the prices and part numbers in the spreadsheet. If you want to look at that stuff, just check the video description. It's in there. There's a spreadsheet you can look at with everything I paid for the excavator so far. Ugh. Little Pitman arm pull in here. There we go. This thing is supposed to be like free on here according to the manual. There we go. It's a bit rusty. Yeah. It says to put an alignment mark between the cover and the housing. I'll use a W for we should align it here. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Hopefully that's the water that I sprayed in here when I was cleaning it. Okay. Okay, nothing shot out. Oh wait, springs will come out abruptly, resulting in personal injury when brake valve assembly is removed quickly. Be sure to remove it slowly to relieve spring force before separating. Okay, there is a bunch of springs here, but they're not shooting out. There is a little bit of junk in here, but not too bad. It's been sitting for a while, water in it, clearly. But it doesn't look too bad. Here we go. Manual shows this outer ring coming out next, but it has like 2 holes in here that they're using a puller with. There's no holes in here. Got some of these doodads. Those look important. Oh, okay, well this is coming out. Uh-oh. Stuff's coming loose. Hopefully those aren't supposed to be matched up to... Can I get this out now? There's definitely water in here that I didn't put in. Okay, well, I can't, the manual is not telling me the right thing here, so see if we can get this out. Sounds like it came out. Part of it did. Oh boy, now we got a problem. Oh, there we go. Okay, well hopefully these don't have to be in the same spot. Otherwise I'm in trouble. Why are they gonna make this stuff so complicated? There we go, geez. Yeah, there's like a seal in there. Is that an O-ring too? So there's an inner race. This bearing actually looks pretty good, so I'll just probably leave this on here. Clean it up. I think this side was out. The lettering was down. That's a note for future Matt. Oh, it is coming out now. Okay, I'm gonna put a shot of what my manual shows. I mean, it's washed out, it's really hard to see, but it shows 2 holes in here that they're using to like slide hammer out. And obviously I do not have those. So I don't know if this is like an older revision or what, but there we go. Yeah, O-ring in here. And then I can pull these out. I ordered a rebuild kit. I don't know if it came with new clutches. The material on this side is thin. This side looks good. Yeah, and this outside is thin. Go. That's actually it for this thing. Besides, it says you can pull this needle bearing, but this bearing actually looks really good, so I'm going to leave it in there. Next step in the manual is the relief valves, and I already have the kit coming to rebuild these, so I'm not going to do it until it comes, because there's like a few measurements you got to take, and you want to do it like right at the same time so you don't forget what you're doing. So hold off on those. We got a rusty spring in here. Nope, something just fell out. This looks important. Yeah, just got to clean this stuff out. I see a little bit of gunk in here. Kind of like all over everything. These O-rings are just hard as a rock. There are a few things to check for wear here. So the first is, I think it's basically, this is the shoe and this is the piston. And if there's any movement in here, 0.2 millimeters is the allowable clearance. I'm gonna have to find a way to measure that. Although it's not, I feel like no movement at all. The other is the piston to the bore clearance. So that's basically the internal diameter here versus this diameter. But just going off of feel, there's like no slop. Maximum allowable on here is 0.05 millimeter. So I'll measure that with a micrometer in a second here, but unless I find something, I'm not gonna show it. So I'm done with the swing device for this video because I'm just waiting on parts now. I've only gotten in a bearing and a seal so far. They're gonna be filtering in for the next week or two. I don't know how this looks on camera, if this looks like a big, giant, complicated mess. It doesn't really seem too bad. And the parts diagram is very helpful, and then the manual basically holds your hand putting it back together. So I'm not too concerned about doing it right. I guess we'll see how that goes in the next video. The hard part for me with hydraulic stuff is keeping everything really, really clean as you're assembling it. It's always difficult, especially in this shop, to do that. Still got a little bit of time left tonight, so I've kind of been dreading this, but we should probably start looking in here and seeing how bad stuff is. Is that water or gear oil? Hopefully it's gear oil. Well, I mean, the gear teeth are still there. Oh boy. Yeah. Really need a pressure wash in here. A lot of spots I couldn't get to before. I think someone told me that there was a drain plug in here somewhere. So is there a drain plug under here? You'd think there'd be a cover down here. So that's the swivel joint. I don't see, oh, maybe that plate. That looks like it could be a drain. 17 millimeter. Ow. Ouch. Now is this gonna start dripping? Oh yeah, there comes the water. Get this going. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a little water. Can't reach. That went right up into my armpit. That's nice. There we go. There we go. That's more like it. Maybe I should let the water go on the ground. And I'll pull this out when it turns into oil. You can see what's going on here. Of course, now I'm laying in a puddle. Oh, it stinks. Oh, there we go. It's starting to come out. Oh boy. Yep, here we go. There's gonna be a couple gallons in here at least, right? Doesn't seem like that's much. Uh-oh. Some chunkage. What's this? What is this? Uh-oh. That's not good. Alright, well, let this drain for a while. Is there anything else in here? Okay, I can feel the teeth. Alright, let me get you in here. So fluid's way down, but the machine's on an incline, so it's not going to drain all the way out here in the back. Teeth, you know, they look actually in really good shape. They're not worn out. They don't appear to be. They don't feel rusty. There's not like rust all over the bottom. It's just slop. This, I think this is a seal. Hold on a second here. So, yeah, that's a seal. That thing is shot. The thing I pulled out of there, which was concerning, is this. This is a little rubber spring for an oil seal. Now, this isn't off the seal from the gearbox because I actually have that spring part and it's complete. So it's either off of an old seal or there's another seal in here. I think that outside part's just rubber, but I don't know. I'll have to do some more research, but that is a little bit of a concern. Okay, well, I don't really know what to do yet. You know, clearly there's an issue with the seal going on, and I'm not sure exactly how all that rainwater is getting in. There's a seal, either a seal issue or it was getting in some other way, but it's bad news. I know that. The hope here is I don't have to replace the slew ring because I don't have the gear for that, obviously. That's kind of a big job. So I'll just go ahead and leave this be for now and do a little bit of reading in the background, and hopefully I can figure this thing out. All right, well, that's going to be it for this video. In the next one, assuming I get all the parts in, I'll be putting the swing device back together. However, it's not going to get put back in the machine for quite a while. It's nice not having it in there so I can get to all the hoses and that kind of thing and reach other parts. And while I'm sitting here, Charlie just reminded me, she just chased a mouse out of my welding cabinet there, and it ran into the dozer. I have not used the dozer yet. I'm going to very soon. I've just kind of been busy with some vacation stuff and that sort of thing. So I'll be getting to that pretty soon. So look for a video on that. And with all that said, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.